thoughts, opinions, and general overall shade thrown on High at 9 News are those of the individual speakers and not those of High at 9 News, its audience, or its advertisers. The statements made do not constitute medical, legal, or financial advice, and for advice tailored to your specific situation, please consult with a licensed professional. Welcome to the High at 9 News Hour, where you will hear from cannabis industry experts and professionals from around the country talk about important topics while shining light on global issues and discussing cannabis as it relates to politics, regulation and reform, data and technology, science, research and medicine, family and parenting, art, celebrities and entertainment, fitness, sports, mental health and wellness, and plant-based medicines and entheogenics. Together, we are building a stronger community, fighting the stigma and creating change. With your hosts, Jason Beck and Rico Lamitte, joined by special industry expert correspondents from around the country, and daily antics brought to you by Cannabis. Coming to you live every Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. Pacific Time and high noon on the East Coast. And thank you all for getting high at 9 with us. Shit.
Rapport.
Watch out anytime. Watch out on the road anytime Yarrow's driving. But good morning, everybody. That's right. It is Tuesday, October 22nd. And today is National Tavern Style Pizza Day.
Bar pizza?
Yep. National Make a Dog's Day. Jenny Beth.
Yeah, I just did. I just gave him some brekkies.
I know Yarrow just got a new dog, too. It's National Color. It's National Color Day. I'm not sure what that's really supposed to mean. If that's supposed to have to do with some race or anything like that, or if it's just all about crayons and Crayola and whatnot. And of course, it's the Democrats' Day because it's National Nut Day.
I see what you did there.
Yep. Thank you all for joining us and getting high at 9 with us. It's also high noon on the East Coast. And please remember to like, share, and subscribe to us on all social media platforms. You can look up above and down below to see exactly where we live on the internet. And we are live every Monday through Friday on YouTube, Rumble, Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and our very own website at www.highat9news.com. So welcome to everyone joining us from any one of those platforms. Is Rico here yet? Rico is not here yet. Oh. All right. Fair enough. Well, we're going to go with the sicko today. That's right. It's Miss Jenny Beth Dills. She's not feeling as chipper today, so to say. She's the founder of Justice Served as well as Kind Cannabis. And that's right. It is none other than Miss Jenny Beth Dills.
I didn't tell everybody I was sick, Jason.
We can hear it in your voice.
Oh, can you?
I hear the nasalness.
Amazing. I love it.
Yeah, too.
I love it. I love it. Good morning. Okay. Well, Jason gave me a story behind a paywall, so I'm not going to be able to read it off my computer. We're going to have to do it from my phone this morning. But
I'm sorry.
Hi. Let's talk about some assholes. What'd you say?
I apologize.
Thank you.
Bring your camera down, Jenny Beth.
Huh?
Bring your camera so your forehead's not chopped off.
Yeah, bring your camera down a little bit. Or maybe you need to point it up a little bit.
There you go.
Yeah.
Perfect.
You got my big ass forehead? It's a large forehead,
it's a five head. Whoa.
All right.
Right there.
Bigger than mine, though.
Yeah.
All right, Todd.
That's what she said.
Well, anyhow, Massachusetts cannabis businesses are surrendering licenses at an alarming rate. The rate at which cannabis businesses are surrendering licenses has picked up rapidly in the past year as the industry faces economic and regulatory headwinds. Since last September, 4 retail licenses have been either surrendered, not renewed, or revoked. In the entire 5 years since the legal cannabis industry sparked up in Massachusetts prior to September 2023, just 5 licenses had been surrendered by local businesses. On the non-retail side, which includes manufacturing and growing, 26 non-retail licenses have been surrendered, revoked, or not renewed over the past year. And over the previous 5 years, only 11 such licenses were surrendered, which is pretty huge. It sounds like people are running out of the Massachusetts cannabis business at a very alarming rate. We know that the regulatory body has not done a good job with regulating cannabis in Massachusetts. We know that there's been a lot of struggles with quality, with employee relations. So I'm going to throw it back to you guys, but it sounds like Massachusetts maybe wasn't the winner they thought it was going to be.
Man, whole bunch of massholes just giving up their licenses, huh?
They're bad.
Yeah, they're just giving them up instead of trying to get rid of them or sell them. They're just abandoning them.
Maybe they don't really have any value, Todd.
Yeah, so I do a lot of M&As, and you'd be surprised how little people are getting for cannabis licenses. I've got turnkey facilities going for $150,000.
Oh,
look at that, Todd. It's definitely not Vegas.
Good deal.
Huh? Definitely not Vegas.
I think
definitely.
Would you like one?
No.
You know what I would like? I would like us to remember that a license is not a license. A license is but one factor in what is being either surrendered, sold, M&A'd. A license, is it on real estate owned? Is it a lease? How good is the lease? What is the technology within the facility? Are they using ancient technologies and inefficient energies, or is it tip of the technology curve? And so I just think that it's really important to remember that sometimes the reason why people are surrendering a license is because they got janky equipment and a janky lease, and there's things besides the license itself that are impacting the value or desirability of that particular asset.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, as someone that's done extensive work in Massachusetts, I would say that it might not be a lot of the established operating businesses that are relinquishing their licenses, but maybe it's some of these social equity applicants that got their applications put to the top of the stack, got a license, and that couldn't fund their opportunity. And I think that's probably the more common thread here with a lot of these relinquishments. So it sucks, it sucks. The money dried up. People were scared to invest in some of these businesses. I think Massachusetts is actually a pretty good market. And so I'd have to say that now it's just being more consolidated, and the operators there that are operating, that are in good standing, are going to reap the reward. So this is just typical. This is how it works. This is how it works in a free market. If you can't pay for it, you can't operate. So, the guys that can will, and they will survive. They will thrive.
I'd be really interested to see, because they weren't just licenses that weren't renewed or were relinquished, right? There were revocations too. So I'd be interested in seeing who was revoked and what those reasons were. Because there was 27 is a lot to go down in a year when you're looking at 11 previously.
Yeah,
Wow.
you know what, you're right about that, Jenny, and Saman, you're right about what you said too. And I wish that there was a designation to say how many of these were these social equity licenses of this 27 that were given up, because we know of a few people that couldn't maintain their licenses because they couldn't maintain their leases.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to happen in a lot more states than just Massachusetts. So, we'll see. We're going to see more of a shakeup than ever before, but Mass is still going strong. I mean, I have a lot of really good friends that are operating there that are crushing it. Shout out to them. Shout out to Resonate. Shout out to Regenerative. Really good homies of mine. So.
Mass Genetics out there.
Oh, Pistol Pete. We got to shout out Alex and Pete. Come on now.
Yes.
Were they dispensaries or cultivations that closed down?
Both. So there were less retail stores that closed down, but there were 27 licenses that were non-retail licenses that closed down.
Must be the janky equipment.
Wow.
So that 27 represents what percentage of the total licenses issued in the state, right? Because that's also an important metric.
I don't know, Yarrow. You're going to have to do the math for me. I'm too sick.
It's like 1%, Yarrow. It's not a lot. It's still. There's still plenty of active licenses, but we also have to just differentiate between the license types. Like if there's one grow that has multiple licenses to contain more square footage or whatever, and there's probably still a lot of businesses that are building out to be these big super monoliths there. So I don't think like the story's over for Mass. I don't even think people have stopped building bigger grows and bigger facilities. So I don't know what to say, but it's obvious that there's a lot of lack of funding and a lot of lack of resources for some of these business owners, and they just got to the end of the road.
Well, and it may not be a lack of resources. Boston and that area is a bunch of finance bros who probably smoke weed and got the license and don't know what the fuck to do with it.
As of 2024, there's 427 licensed cultivators.
Yeah, Jason.
They
Rico.
put out 4.2 million pounds of harvested cannabis annually.
Yeah, I'm with you, Jason. I would say I would want to see how many of these are social equity, because they got the worst deal in the entire land of social equity.
They got raw dogged.
Those guys, they got fucked, and they got fucked bad. And I think it was up until about like 6 months ago, they had to pay for 2 drivers. So not only did they all have to give a massive cut. Social equity licenses were a lot of the social equity licenses were these delivery licenses that they had to give a cut to actual brick and mortar owners. But also on top of that, they had to employ 2 drivers a time and have them on the vehicle at all times. So they're just getting screwed. They're getting bled. And I would not be surprised if a bunch of these were, at least on the retail side, the ones that were retail, I wouldn't be surprised if they were all social equity.
I wouldn't.
Well, there's 4 of them. You could check pretty easily.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Low blows.
You actually make a couple calls, man, because
I'm sure there's a website.
Yeah, we were not able to get them on board with us because they couldn't afford shit. Like literally.
Ouch.
Shit's pretty cheap.
I mean, when people are giving their licenses away, just turn them back in. They definitely, you know what I mean? Are they even worth the paper they're printed on is the question.
Who knows, man? Who knows? Yeah, Massachusetts. It's like you said, Simon. Like it'll be fine in the end of in the end. It just won't look like they said it's gonna look like.
Look, the cannabis game is not a game of growing and selling weed. It's a game of survival. You gotta survive, baby. You gotta get out there, and you have to be able to manage your funding and manage your resources so that you can make it to the end. And here we are. It's a game of attrition, people. We gotta make it.
Free market ain't free.
Nope.
Fair enough. And on that, we're gonna roll into a commercial, and we're gonna be right back.
Oh man, that was weird. Hey, you America. Do I look like Sean Connery? Good morning, America. Saman Razani coming to you live from sunny Los Angeles, California with the one and only highest host, Mr. Jason Beck, smoking on the best weed in the world. Did you know that we have an audio-only version of our podcast? You can find it on Apple, Google, Amazon, iHeartRadio, and Spotify. No excuses in 2024. If you haven't checked us out, check it out now. And also, check out what the Prophet's doing in 2024.
And we are back, Rico.
Oh.
We are back. You going with you, Jason?
Yeah.
Yeah, you all know who it is. It is the man known for smoking the best weed in the world, the highest Republican in every room that he walks into.
Yes.
And this morning, he's got a little pep in his step, man.
Pep in step every day, bro. I put the pep in the step.
Coming to the stage is none other than Donald Trump's own little brother, Jason Beck.
Oh my God.
How about that McDonald's, man? Those McDonald's memes were great yesterday.
I heard he fixed the ice cream machine.
He did. He did.
Yeah, that's probably why he shits his pants every day.
Whoa.
They already have a convicted felon in the Hamburglar.
The best one was the one when he painted over the Mick and it was just the sign read Donald's. That was the best.
Chocolate. Chocolate. Let's do, baby.
But there was
no customer McDonald's.
But there was also yesterday. Kamala Harris did an interview with Maria Shriver yesterday. Former First Lady of California, and they asked, is Kamala Harris eating marijuana gummies to relax during the election season, you guys? Oh, boy. Vice President Kamala Harris made it quite clear in a lighthearted manner where she stands on the use of marijuana edibles as a stress reliever while on the campaign trail. During a stop in Michigan on Monday, former news anchor Maria Shriver mentioned to the Democratic nominee that many people were feeling increasingly anxious as the election approached. Shriver explained that individuals were turning to activities like meditation, yoga, or even consuming gummies to cope. Before asking Harris how she personally dealt with stress, Harris responded with a firm, but humorous remark, saying she was not eating gummies, which drew laughter and applause from the crowd, you guys. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Shriver then made it clear that Harris had answered that part of the question, and however, Harris admitted to feeling the tension as her contest against former President Donald Trump neared, confessing that she often found herself waking up in the middle of the night. She added that working out every morning was essential to her, and emphasizing the importance of maintaining balance for both mind and body. And despite her personal stance, Harris is not opposed to the legalization of marijuana. Just last week, she had pledged her support for federal legalization, even though none of us know what that means. But nonetheless, you guys, and Michigan is one of several states where adult use marijuana has been legalized, and Harris has called for the national legalization of adult use marijuana with a focus on ensuring, get ready for this, Rico, that black entrepreneurs can participate in the cannabis industry. Her campaign emphasized that Harris would work to ensure that black men who have long been disproportionately targeted for marijuana have access to wealth and job opportunities arising from the growing market. And this stance marks a sharp departure from previous policies, and recently President Joe Biden's administration has sought to reclassify marijuana from a Schedule I to a Schedule III. Man, oh man, oh man, the gas is so lit on this story, you guys. I can't wait to hear what you guys have to say about this. And I want to know, where's the wealth in the cannabis space that she's referencing in this?
Where's the wealth?
Yeah, where's the wealth?
That's a good question.
Right, Todd?
Tax money. Maybe the states are getting wealthy. The states.
That's right. That's right. The government is getting wealthy. That's right.
Yeah, I mean,
Tilray and cannabis growth.
Oh, man.
I mean, there's got to be kickbacks from Curaleaf there somewhere, and line in the pockets. I mean, look, if we don't think that there's but one organization that's winning here, it's not the Cannabis Trade Organization, guys.
Literally.
Exactly.
People just chill the fuck out.
It's the government's duplicitous, but we as individuals, as the ones who are moving the needle, we have to watch out. And if we get wrapped up and if we get sucked into the scheme, then of course nothing happens for the operators. That person who gets sucked into the scheme might be benefiting personally, but that's about it. So don't be a bloodsucker. Just help your fellow cannabis operators. That's all you got to do.
I mean, I just find it interesting that she kind of like stopped Maria Shriver in her tracks before she got to ask the question. Like, no, I'm going to address this just head on. I don't eat marijuana gummies. I mean, did anyone think that she did eat marijuana gummies?
I don't know, man.
I think you'd be making fun of her if she didn't, or if she did. You'd be like, fuck, that answers everything. She's on fucking edibles.
Well, we all know she loves alcohol. Everybody knows
who
that.
Who does it? No?
Well, I don't know why Maria Shriver suggested that people are dealing with their election anxiety with yoga. I mean, I think that's a little bit of a stretch.
I see what you tried to do there, yoga. Yeah, put him back on the shelf, Jimmy.
I can't lift him. I don't feel good.
Thank you.
Camera's off.
I don't know, man. Like we're just in full pandering mode at this point from both ends, and I'm tuned out.
You're tuned out? Man, I'm turned up.
I'm ready for it to be over. I'm ready for people to stop fighting over shit that doesn't make fucking sense. I'm ready for not to be lied to constantly every day and have to explain to people like why this isn't true and this probably is never going to fucking happen, and not to be the stupid ass goldfish. My ballot's been counted. It's in there. Like,
yep, I checked mine.
I already done voted, and I implore everybody else to get it over with and cut this shit out. I've been trying
cut it out.
The last 2 days. I have not talked to politics in my stories. I'm trying to go forward, not doing that, at least on the presidential level, because I'm just both full pandering, just lying about everything. And I'm not going to draw false equivalencies about one over the other. Y'all know what it is, and that's it. Kamala Harris, I don't know if she's eating gummies. I don't know if she does or she doesn't. What I do know is she's a cop.
Well, hold on. She said she works out in the morning. She said she works out in the morning. What exercises do you think she does in the morning?
Do you think she goes to a middle class gym?
F45. She goes to F45.
What's a middle class? What's a middle class gym? Is that kind of like a black job?
Probably Planet Fat Ass.
Yo.
Oh man. I know what you
got there. This is what I'm saying. Like both of them got hit for days. They got hit.
I don't know, but SNL did a great job with that Family Feud parody, and he was like, "What do you find in a glove box?" Let's just tell you, I grew up in a middle class home. I had 2 moms, and he's just like, "Oh, here we go again."
Yeah.
And then she kicked a blicky in the glove compartment, so there's that.
Hey, at least she's not talking about dick sizes.
The shit was funny.
Oh, boy.
The enemies from within.
It was funny.
Yeah, I honestly can't wait till this is all over. I want to stab my ears and eyeballs out every time.
Oh, no.
I just feel so bad for people who are so like, the world is going to end if Trump gets elected. The world is going to end if Kamala gets elected. Like, they're literally causing themselves. This is self-created anxiety. Like, if you could just maybe eat a gummy, maybe take a deep fucking breath or 3. Like, just, I used to tell my kid to shake it off, and I'd make him, like, take deep breaths when he was about, when parent. You don't understand when they're getting all spun up and, they're about to fucking blow their little top. Watch these people who freak out about the election. They look like a toddler who's about to have that rolling on the floor fit in Target. So, like, just take the breathe. Take the breathe. Breather.
Yeah.
The world is fucking ending. Why people are thinking it's ending now. It's literally what is happening now is crazy. So,
yeah.
Like, what can happen? Who knows? Yeah. But nothing could be crazier than fucking reality right now. So.
My 11-year-old told me he thinks we're in end times, and I can't disagree with him. So it's crazy.
When did we begin? When were the beginning times?
I mean, I thought the end times were in the 80s too, so I get it. Like now it's even crazier than then. The question is how crazier is it going to get, Rico?
I don't know. Can we go to another story so I can get my tea out of the microwave?
Yeah, it's as crazy as you want to be, Jason. It's as crazy we're not going to the next story. How about that?
How about that? All right, fair enough. We're going to roll right into the dope dad himself, Mr. Rico Lamitte, the man who is wearing his presidential colors today. That's right, orange and black. That's right, it is the dope dad himself, Mr. Rico Lamitte.
I missed the joke there, Jason. Want to break it down for me?
Your presidential colors? Yeah. Orange and black? Yeah.
Trump's orange, you got a black job.
Orange is the new black, right?
Oh, boy. Yeah, okay. Oh, boy. Oh, I'm not going there.
All right, y'all. So I have a story from across the pond over in, on the other side, I guess. I'm going to talk about China. And I'm not going to bring up politics in it. So according to an article posted Monday by German newspaper Bild, Volkswagen China Chief Marketing Officer and Head of Product Strategy, Yoshan Sengpil, I'll just say Sengpil, was deported from the country after testing positive for cannabis. Sengpil was detained and subjected to drug testing upon his return to Beijing from a 2-week vacation in Thailand. He was then held in prison for 10 days before being released through intervention by the German embassy and immediately deported. Although cannabis is legal in Germany and decriminalized in Thailand, Sengpil's detention and subsequent deportation were ordered directly by President Xi Jinping, who announced the executive would also be permanently banned from China. Overreact much. Sengpil is best known in the car industry for sparking Volkswagen's global resurgence under his highly successful Das Auto marketing campaign. He had also become a key figure in VW's efforts to navigate the highly competitive Chinese car market, especially amid rising EV competition from local automakers like BYD. Volkswagen Group, in addition to BMW, Mercedes, and GM, all leading EV production players in every other major market outside of China, have struggled to keep up with the technological advances achieved at much lower price points by locally built Chinese vehicles. And this incident deals a significant blow to both Sengpil's career and VW's strategy in China. Volkswagen, on its part, declined to comment on the situation, citing privacy concerns, but I think it's safe to say that a Chinese exit for VW would send the former leader in global car production and sales into a tailspin, as China is currently the largest car market and exporter and has been the world's largest producer of automobiles since 2008. China is also the current world leader, the largest market in terms of sales and ownership. And in 2022, China sold over 23.6 million passenger cars, more than double the sales of Japan and India, the second and third largest markets. So say what you want about electric vehicles here in America, but everywhere else in the world, EVs are dominating by far. It's not just the future, it is the present everywhere else. Performing well in today's global EV market is the only way any car company is going to compete with China past 2030. Put that in your pipe and smoke.
I don't know about that.
Legally smoking weed in Thailand, just a return to be targeted by Chinese officials for a quote unquote random drug test, may have sunk one of the most successful automotive executives' careers and planted the seeds for one of the most storied automotive brands' demise in the near future. China is not to be fucked with, y'all. I'm Rico Lamitte, the dopest dad on the street for High at 9 News. That's all I got.
I don't know. I think this is great. I think there's a huge spin here. I think they should start making hemp cars, and they should really like double down on it, and then it'll.
And what's the runway looking like until you get an actual product to market in hemp cars?
Already doing it. Porsche's making the interiors now, not out of carbon fiber, but out of hemp fiber. Did you know that?
They are components for the interior.
It doesn't matter.
Are you talking about drivetrain?
Spin cars made of hemp, so it's not like a
EV car compared to a hemp car. You're talking about a drivetrain. They can get to market.
Made of metal, and the body is made of hemp.
I just think, when we think about manufacturing prowess and where the most, the best made manufactured products come from, made in China doesn't always say that. But here we are with an example of a superior product because China has just manufactured the best prohibition, discrimination, and condemnation based on cannabis use. And so kudos to China for bringing prohibition back in a way that very few countries can. They have just leapfrogged to the top of the pile. And instead of Russia holding Britney for a vape cartridge, China is scuttling an international automotive conglomerate over a THC test. I mean, who would have thought that they could have done it so well as this?
Don't piss dirty in China.
They're like, fuck tariffs. They're like, fuck tariffs. Yeah, we ain't even dealing with tariffs. Your auto execs, they're not even allowed back in our country, ever. How about that?
Sounds like it's going exactly how we thought it was going to go. It's going to get real cagey and catty out there, and China is definitely gonna eat up a lot of the manufacturing in the world. But like this is like he pulled the car. He's like, you're our competitor and you're in our country and we're gonna put the screws to you. He basically did like a Brittany Griner thing to that guy. So, it's not as bad. And I don't know if I'd rather be in a Russian gulag or a Chinese gulag, but I don't know.
I bet they're both pretty bad.
Well, shout out to Joe Mackey with a big old super chat who says, "You ever seen Dumb and Dumber?"
Now, listen, you would rather be in a Chinese gulag because the food is way better.
I'm willing to
bet. But half hour later, you're hungry again.
I'm willing to bet that this has. I'm willing to bet that this has some political this is just political ramifications from Trump.
Oh yeah.
From Trump announcing that the tariffs that he's going to impose on Chinese-made automotives, because they were building a whole big ass factory out there. It was going to be one of the biggest factories in all of China to produce cars. And once he announced those tariffs, they stopped all construction on it.
Right.
Oh,
yeah, Bruce.
They don't want to harm the American consumer with those tariffs.
What are you talking about, Jason? What are you talking about?
You heard exactly what I said, bro.
No, give me some specifics.
There was a factory in China
they're
build a big ass
to make. They're going to build a big ass plant out there, and then they shut it down. Like, what are the specifics on that?
Yeah, because
Trump might win the election.
Trump is going to win the election.
Right? Give me some specifics, man.
That was very specific, bro.
Dude, he saw it on TikTok.
I don't watch TikTok. I don't use TikTok at all. That's cute, Todd.
It was almost as specific as Saman literally having to break down the entire composition of a Porsche so that we understood that he knew what he was fucking talking about. Why you got to push everybody this morning? My head hurts too much for this.
Oh,
because he said you can't replace EVs with hemp cars. There's literally no market for that right now. And then number two, we're talking about drivetrain. EV, you're talking about the drivetrain. There is no hemp drivetrain. Like Porsche's putting components of hemp in their cars, and then other automakers are putting components of hemp in their cars. That's the difference.
Read the manual on how a car works, bro, and how an EV car works, bro. There is no engine in that thing. You understand that, right? There's a battery and there is a body, and that's it. And they have the most simple way to turn the wheels in those cars. It's super.
Yeah, it's like a little red wagon, right, Saman?
It's a little red wagon, baby. That's exactly what it is. It's simple, but I said it as like, look, if power is going to play power, then they're going to have to do something that's going to be like another big fuck you to the monolith that China is. So I don't know. Do I care? No, no.
Saman, your right eye is not fully open.
That's the hash again.
You can get a hemp car, and there's a guy Bruce Michael Deaton down in Key West who builds hemp cars. It's from the Henry Ford blueprint.
Well, what other materials are using that? Because Ingrid Faye in the chat, she says hemp can be a small part of the car, but not 100% of it.
It can't be 100%.
I would love for that to be a reality. As much as I would love for it to be a reality, you create your own reality. There's no hemp drivetrain, right? It's not going to push the vehicle forward, right? So we have internal combustible engines, and we got the electric vehicles that are taking the world by storm thanks to Elon Musk.
Maybe it comes with enough THCA. Maybe it comes with enough THCA when you buy a hemp car, Rico, that you feel like you're flying.
Yeah, it's
instead of a V8 engine, you got a D8 engine.
Yeah, exactly.
I like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they make just the body out of the hemp.
No, I think it's a win. I think there's a big win for Elon Musk though, because he is the only a non-Chinese automaker out there that's actually competing. They're number 2, right behind BYD. And like nobody else is on it. GM's number 10, Volkswagen's number 9 right now. They're about to be.
Electric's a terrible idea to keep proliferating. I think it's the worst.
Yeah, we live in a state with rolling power outages.
Exactly.
Battery powered car.
It's the worst idea.
So stupid.
Then if it goes into a river or a lake, and then there's sharks there, it creates all that electricity in the car. So I don't know whether if I would be better to jump in the water and deal with the shark or stay on the car and be electrocuted.
Especially
if you're driving with the Fonz, he's gonna jump the shark anyway, so he'd be all right.
Especially when all the global warming people all think that California's gonna get swallowed up by the ocean pretty soon.
Also,
that's definitely going to happen.
And all of our electric cars, we're going to, you may never be able to go in the water again. There'll be so much electricity in there.
Right. There'll be so much electricity from the stored batteries.
Yeah, it's like
man.
Jason, when you have a bad day and you say you're going to go to sea, then that would be an actual threat because it's electrified.
Who remembers last year where they had all those dead Teslas because it was too cold? That's ridiculous.
Right.
Yeah, cold cranking amps is a real thing, and the fact that nobody thought about that. Like, we lived in Colorado long enough to understand what it'll do to a battery.
I mean, look, it's the guy sends stuff into space. I mean, they should understand, like, extreme temperature change.
And he catches it when it comes back from space.
Yeah, he's a pitcher and a catcher.
Oh,
that's the problem. I mean, the oldest Ford truck, even though Fords aren't like the best cars or the best made cars, maybe they still work when it's -9 degrees. But a Tesla that's made like yesterday or 10 days ago, it will not work if the those Chinese, their infrastructure is crazy over there, and they have swappable batteries, so you can actually go in and swap the battery out and get a brand new one. You don't have to worry about any of that shit. We need to update our infrastructure. We just don't compete on a global level at all. So maybe it is better that we get into our protectionism and xenophobia and just do everything over here, because we're not going to be able to catch up.
Well, Chris Brady in the chat says y'all need to be grounded, and on that we're going to go to a commercial and we're going to be right back.
Ooh, electricity joke.
Too high to be grounded.
This plan would make marijuana legal, but would not remove all of the consequences. Explain that for us.
Why are they busting in my door after midnight over something that Illinois says is legal?
Right. We've run into so much cannabis. We've run out of places to put it.
Things are legalized, but it's not legalized completely.
My mini doc on legalization policy in Illinois is available for free streaming now at colememo.com/minidoc.
You always leave early. That's not news. Rico. This is a news show.
It's an hour-long show.
We're back, Rico.
Hour-long show. And we're going up next. We have Mr. Todd Denkin. Is Las Vegas' own golden tongue. So tell your grandmother and your mama, Granddaddy Perp is in the building, so they better run. He is the founder of Magic Labs. And here to break us off with a little Tuesday morning heat, Mr. Todd Denkin. Todd Denkin, y'all.
Thank you very much. Wash out, grandmas.
Yeah.
Is third time the charm for adult use cannabis legalization in North Dakota. Well, North Dakota isn't Colorado or California. It's not even Oklahoma. Respect for North Dakota's conservative identity is paramount if the state's voters who rejected adult use legalization measures in 2018 and 2022 are to be convinced to legalize cannabis this election day, campaigners believe. Eve, and his last name, I love it, Bacon. He's Bacon right now. Steve Bacon, chair of the campaign to pass Measure 5, the third legalization measure to appear on the North Dakota ballot in 6 years, said, quote, "I don't want us to be Oregon, Washington, or Colorado," unquote, where legal marijuana has flourished in a way conservatives might believe it to be unchecked. North Dakota and Florida are two of the Republican-leaning states where voters will consider ballot measures on November 5th to legalize a recreational cannabis market. Neighboring South Dakota also will vote on adult use legalization, though that measure does not allow for regulated sales. Wins in red states would mark significant milestones for the U.S. marijuana legalization movement, and there would be positive implications for future federal reform as more congressional lawmakers would represent states with regulated adult use cannabis. A transformation into one of the more laissez-faire states for marijuana businesses is always unlikely in a state where 76% of the voters lean Republican. Political reality meant Bacon and the most medical marijuana industry-funded Measure 5 campaign had to tailor a vision of legalization to suit North Dakota voters and their sensibilities. As such, this is extremely conservative, Bacon said. This gives all the power to the state. In contrast to liberal coastal states, or even Oklahoma or Missouri, adult use sales in the latter are on pace to exceed $1.4 billion in 2024. Measure 5 also creates relatively few new business opportunities. That means North Dakota, where fewer than 10,000 registered medical marijuana patients generated about $21.6 million in annual sales at 8 licensed dispensaries last year, according to state data, that likely will remain a small adult use market. For comparison's sake, the average adult use New York City dispensary generates roughly $8.1 million in annual sales, according to one government estimate. If voters approve Measure 5, adults 21 and older will be allowed to possess up to 1 ounce of cannabis, 4 grams of concentrates, no more than 300 milligrams of an adult use cannabinoid edible product. Home cultivation is limited to no more than 3 plants under Measure 5, which would go into effect 30 days after the election. Separately, the measure calls for state regulators to set up a licensed system for adult use cultivation and sales no later than October 1st, 2025. That regulated market would be limited to 7 manufacturing licenses, which would allow cannabis cultivation and manufacturing, and 18 cannabis retail licenses. Measure 5 also limits vertical integration, with ownership capped at 1 manufacturing permit and no more than 4 stores statewide. Individuals and ownership groups also would be forbidden from having an ownership interest in more than 1 retail location within 20 miles of another, according to the text of the initiative. Existing medical marijuana businesses in the state contributed almost all of the nearly $540,000 raised in support of the measure, is what, according to finance records. Top donors included GR Holdings, an Ohio and North Dakota affiliate of New York-based marijuana multi-state operator Curaleaf Holdings, which contributed $300,000 to the campaign and operates 4 of the state's 8 medical marijuana dispensaries. Pure Dakota, which contributed $236,000 to fund the measure and operates 3 dispensaries, according to records. In contrast to other states, Measure 5 does not guarantee first mover status to existing MMJ businesses, although lawmakers could make that change. In a statement emailed to MJ Biz Daily, Keaton Murphy, Curaleaf's senior vice president of the Central Region, noted that the tremendous movement at both the national and local level in support of cannabis reform. We hope to see North Dakota's ballot initiative pass to legalize adult use cannabis in the state. He added, "We are excited for voters to have a say in increasing access to legal regulated cannabis for adults across the state and look forward to the results in November." Well, the measure does not call for a special excise tax on adult use. Legal marijuana transactions would generate about $7.2 million in sales tax revenue, according to an official state analysis. And unlike previous legalization efforts, Measure 5 dedicates cannabis tax revenue to schools and first responders. Recent polling conducted in the North Dakota News Cooperative shows that advocates believe it is a competitive, winnable contest, with 45% of the respondents in favor of the measure, 40% opposed, and another 15% are undecided. While opposition spending has yet to materialize, according to campaign finance records, those against Measure 5 include law enforcement, business groups, public health organization, and the Catholic Church. A spokesman for the Catholic Church said, "Priests are busy raping kids and we don't have time for marijuana legalization." I just made that up. But at least one factor might add some unpredictability in the state that preferred Donald Trump over Joe Biden by more than 2-1 in 2020. Republican Party's 2024 candidate for president endorsed Florida's adult use initiative last month. And Bacon said, "I'm guessing that's going to sway at least some undecideds, or at least have some bearing on their thoughts. Thus, being a really heavy Trump state, if you're a big Trump fan, why are you undecided?" Oh, will this bright red state in the Great White North legalize adult use cannabis? You'll know in just a few short days. I'm Todd Denkin with High at 9 News. What do you guys think? You think Trump's Florida endorsement will help North Dakota?
I think Kristi Noem's going to be pissed because people are going to be bringing cannabis into her state. But
people are already bringing cannabis into her state.
Yeah, when you make it closer, it's going to increase, and it's also hopefully going to put pressure on South Dakota as well to move. I mean, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens.
Well, I don't know if it matters. I mean, the majority of the work and the labor force in North Dakota is all like, it's like imported in from other places for the oil and gas industry. Those guys go to work for a couple weeks a month and then they're out for a couple weeks. So, and they can't smoke weed anyway. So, you know, I don't know how big of an industry it's going to actually make in North Dakota, but obviously, you know, it's better to have your own internal system in place than to like see the cannabis come across your border and not tax it. I guess if you're a local government, that's what you should be doing, and you should just be making it open and free for all of your citizens to enjoy and to tax it.
In the words of Troy Lawrence, open the damn market.
Open the damn market.
Well, I think we are seeing an alarming trend in conservative-leaning states, and we covered it in Nebraska. Yes, I covered it in Nebraska yesterday, in the way in which the judicial branch is being used to subrogate the will of the people. I'm going to cover it in my article today. And we are talking about yet another state where there's this massive disconnect between the typical conservative plank of states' rights, civil liberties, libertarianism, and individual choice, and these vestiges of conservative thought processes where cannabis is seen as something that is for hippies, beatniks, and progressive jazz aficionados. And so what I don't understand is just these continued efforts to not allow cannabis programs to progress in these states that are typically more red than blue. And it's really unfortunate. And I think we just need to remember that 1996 is when medical cannabis was passed in California. 1996. We're in 2024, rounding into 2025, and we're still seeing a lack of progress. And there are people who are really trying to not allow what the majority of Americans think would be acceptable. Partisan shots fired.
I don't know, man.
Oh,
I think Trump's support of endorsement of Measure 3 is definitely going to help this measure out there. You know, I don't think it's going to be substantial, but it definitely is going to increase it.
I think it'll definitely move.
Yeah.
I think he's going to go against the grain.
Because I think some people that are undecided on the issue will be like, you know what, fuck it, Trump's for it.
Trump said okay,
state.
so I'm gonna say okay.
Exactly. People will say that 100%.
Hey, Bubba, do you hear what Trump did?
People will do that.
What do you think?
If it works, it works, right? If that's the means. I think the biggest thing that we can do, then we can always do to push the needle when we're talking about legalization and opening people's 100%. Minds is to educate people and take this fear factor away. 100%. So yes, will Trump help? Hope so. But we really, as an industry, kind of have to take the reins and give people appropriate.
I'm with you on that, Jenny Beth. And I'm also, I have a little pause when it comes to Kristi Noem and her pushback on it. And I don't know, Jason, man. I don't know if Trump wants to go against the grain with Kristi Noem out there.
100%.
Well, Kristi's in South Dakota, but you know, I'm hoping that her little northern, and I got men in the chat trying to correct me, but yes, Kristi's in South Dakota. I'm hoping that her little neighbor to the north will help my argument with Kristi specifically to change her temperature on cannabis.
Well, speaking for gnomes and all other elves on the shelf, I would just say that, Todd, you know, it's not Hey Bubba, it's Hey Bubba Kush, right? So let's be clear.
Nice.
It's Hey Bubba Kush.
Here's the reality: is Kamala Harris is doing the same thing. It's become like they're.
Well, I think it's great that both of them are doing it. I do.
I think it's ridiculous.
I hope they get it.
We all know.
Look, I'm all for cannabis legalization. I'm all for federal legalization. So whoever pushes that agenda, how
long have we been?
It's all good.
How long have they been saying that? How many election cycles have they been saying this is going to?
Well, I don't think they're all telling the truth. I just think they're saying it, which to sway some votes.
We've been told, at least in the last 2 election cycles, that this was a major issue, was at the forefront, and was going to be dealt with in their administration. Well, I mean, say what you will. I guess they're a little preoccupied with everything else than helping, proliferate the largest growing industry in this country since, the Industrial Revolution. So I don't know. I mean, they're fucking up. Everyone's fucking up. All the politicians are fucking this up.
I agree.
We have a chance to take ourselves out of debt instead of putting ourselves deeper into debt. This is what our politicians are doing.
Do you think they're going to enact tariffs on Chinese bubbas?
North Dakota is big on.
Have you seen Arnold Palmer's cock?
Right? Yeah, North Dakota's a big factory.
On that, we're going to a commercial. We're going to be right back.
Yeah.
God, way to go.
I don't even have something to say when that's. I'm like,
it's just totally.
I'm not normally at a loss for words.
Totally inappropriate.
Are you a business that's suffering from the hyperinflation that is plaguing America today? We have the solution for you. That's right. Patriot Business Financing. Head on over to www.patriotbfc.com and apply for a loan up to $2 million. Any state, any industry, even the cannabis industry, the CBD industry, as well as the industrial hemp fiber industry. Secure up to $2 million today, and make sure that when you apply, you tell Paul you said hi from High at 9.
We're back. Easy with all your show.
He was getting to the good part.
We don't care. We don't got time for that. We don't got any time for any of that.
It's such a sad.
Is that how you do? Is that how you do the Trump dance?
Kicking in.
Elderberry tea's kicking in, that echinacea. Sorry, Jason. It's like speeding in LA. You can only catch so many of them.
I'm glad you're feeling better, Jenny Beth. Jenny Beth, obviously, I guess high at 9 is a cure for sickness because Jenny Beth is totally cured. Appears to be.
Duh.
Yeah.
Proof is in the pudding.
The Advil kicked in, and so did the Echinacea tea. Thank you, Jason, for letting me have a moment.
Speaking of cures, it's the man who's been known to cure a few things as well because of all the help that he does. He's a formulator. He's not a chemist. He tells me this all the time, but he is a formulator, and he is a spreadsheet expert right here. That's right.
Likes to mix shit up.
That's right. He also helps women over 40 how to say hello again. That's right. It's none other than Mr. Saman Rizani.
Well, thank you. Thanks for everybody out there listening to us today. I wish you could hear Todd Denkin sing his little song and dance his little jig because it was really good. But,
Thank you.
But today we have a story coming from the Ganjapreneur, and it is about our beloved service members and what they can and cannot consume. And it might become a shocker to hear this, but the U.S. Army has banned the use of hemp-derived Delta-8 THC products. The Army has updated its policies to officially ban the use of Delta-8 THC and other intoxicating hemp products by soldiers. The U.S. Army has updated its drug policy to specifically ban Delta-8 THC and other intoxicating hemp-derived cannabinoids, Marijuana Moment reports. The Army first ruled against the use of hemp products in 2020 due to their potential to cause a failed drug test. However, those guidelines were issued before D8, THC, and other hemp-derived cannabinoids were becoming more and more readily available. And now intoxicating hemp products that behave very similarly to cannabis are widely available online and in retailers across the country. Specifically, the new rules ban synthetic cannabis and other tetrahydrocannabinol THC substitutes that have no known application other than mimicking the effects of THC in the human body. In quote, numerous synthetic THC substitutes are now available on the open market in many states. Synthetic cannabinoids such as Delta-8 THC and other THC substitutes are used in drugs such as spice, which are so closely related in action to THC as to make it obvious that synthetic cannabinoids and THC substitutes will have the same potential for abuse as THC. Experts from the Army Substance Abuse Program rules. Well, that's hilarious. We'll get into that later. Anybody who's ever smoked spice or knows about it will understand why. The update mentions that soldiers will undergo random screenings for Delta-8 during drug testing. Army officials also warn soldiers against eating foods containing poppy seeds, which can cause false positives on drug tests, the report says. And that's the story here by Graham Abbott of the Ganjapreneur. Look, I mean, Spice, K2 and Spice are completely different. Those actually do not contain any Delta-8 or any, hemp-derived Delta-9, as most of these products are now containing. And so it's kind of disingenuous by these experts from the Army, which, who knows who the hell they are, but for them to say that, it's completely false. If you do a simple analysis on Spice and K2, it has, completely different chemicals that are not Delta-9, that are not Delta-8, or frankly any other synthetic derivative or isomer of hemp-derived CBD.
So no Delta-8 for Delta Force.
Exactly, but at the same time, it's like the Spice. They're making the association to something that's actually way worse, right? It's forget about the abuse with THC. Spice is really crazy. I have some friends out here that are probably watching, and they'll probably remember an incident in Colorado where there was a soldier who was at a smoke shop that was right next to the dispensary that we, a vertical dispensary that we all worked for. And the guy went and bought Spice from the head shop next door because he couldn't smoke cannabis and he wanted to experience whatever situation. So the problem was this is a really unfortunate story. This guy had his kid with him, but he proceeded to use the Spice in the parking lot. And then he got so crazy, he runs into the dispensary and he starts stripping his clothes off. And then they have to subdue the guy. This is this is not the same as anybody experiencing anything with cannabis. I'm sorry. It's totally different. I think for the Army to be perpetuating that nonsense is really bad, but also, they were allowing this for so long, and now they're like walking it backwards. And I think that we already have established there's been a precedent for them to allow cannabis use, or just not say, or like it's part of the don't ask, don't tell situation where they're like, hey, it is what it is. You failed the drug test, but we're still going to have you on the front line with a gun in your hand, because that's what the Army and that's what the military does to these young guys. So I don't know if it's like I don't know if there's the if there's something duplicitous here, or if it's just like simply the education at the highest levels in the scientific community that are sponsored and funded by the government are perpetuating this nonsense. I think it's a big problem.
Well, I don't think I don't think they set a precedence. This is just their slow reaction to what the market has evolved to since the signing of the hemp bill, Saman. So these things didn't exist before, so they didn't have to have a policy in place to ban it.
Well, I mean, when we're talking about recommending spice instead, just please keep in mind that we're talking about the group of people that has routinely, over the history of time, tested substances on human beings that they've militarized, doped them up to all holy hell, and sent them into the jungles. Like, we're not talking about a group who is really forward-thinking and very concerned about the health and safety of the individuals that they are working with. So, I mean, let's just keep it real. Jason, you got a super
but
chat.
now they have a really cool art exhibit.
I would like to.
You can see those real bodies and real muscles.
I would like to see the military handbook on approved stress relief activities, because I can guarantee it's going to have to be more robust than Maria Shriver's suggestion that people do yoga for election anxiety. And so what are the things that the men and women that serve, especially on the front lines, what can they do to unwind besides Netflix and chill or pizza, right? And I don't know what that is, but I think that we need to think about when these people are in these high stress, high intensity environments, what are they allowed to do to tune down and to sort of chill out for a little bit? I don't know what the answer is, but give me a little bit of advice, please.
You don't want them to tune down and chill out. You want them to be like jacked up, crazy fucking killing machines, because that's what we do when we militarize people for the use of our government, right?
Not 24/7. People have leave. People have R&R. People have the ability when they're not in. They should, I think, be able to chillax.
Mm-hmm.
They should read scripture.
Yeah, don't start to chillax.
Yeah, Delta 8 gummies all day.
Go pray.
Go pray.
But at the same time,
more relaxing than praying.
At the same time, I'm sure we lose a lot of really good men and women that serve our country because of these backwards ass policies. So I think that's an important thing to be noted, and we shouldn't be That's basically us fighting ourselves. It doesn't make any sense.
We have a suicide problem. We have a PTSD problem. We have a how do we support these people when they come back and try to transition to civilian life problem, and we have an HR problem for what is arguably one of the largest organizations in the world, which is the U.S. military. How do we take care of these people, and how do we let them unwind?
Right.
Fair enough. You ready, Rico? We'll roll over.
Jason, you got a super chat.
Be a nice Merlot.
It's a tale as old as time.
Oh, yeah, we did get a super chat from, that's right, Miss Jenny Beth Dills, who says, Jason Beck for Strip Club DJ 2024. Cute.
Jenny Beth,
cute.
Main stage.
No.
Cute, you guys.
Michael.
We got
Mercedes VIP room.
Jenny,
Mercedes.
Jenny, you need to take Yarrow off the shelf so we can do a story so Rico can introduce
come here, little fella.
Oh yeah, he's fresh off the shelf and ready to break it down with a little Sebastopol sage advice. Today is none other than the head honcho over at Special Teams Consulting. He's a fellow dope Faja, if you will. And if you look really closely in Gandalf's sleeve, you might see him there. Yarrow Kubrin.
And the crowd goes wild.
I love that canned applause. It's the only thing that I consume that's not fresh and farm raised. So thank you so much.
Man, what are you talking about? It's fake news.
Good morning. Good morning. Speaking of fake news, my article is right off the Fox News website.
That's how you know it's the truth.
And without further ado, I'm coming in with a theme here. We talked about Nebraska. We talked about Dakota, and now I am talking about Arkansas. So this is Yarrow Kubrin, High at 9 News, Tuesday morning. Vote for Arkansas's ballot measure on medical marijuana will not be counted. Court rules. So this is, not okay. And bear with me because on a desktop that is paywalled, and so I will just click on. It's okay. Don't worry. I will do it out of the other website.
Dealing.
Yarrow. Exactly.
You guys can put a little. You can put a little. Bear with me here.
This is an epic.
Put a little music in the background.
This is an epic fail for you. Yeah, exactly.
Hey, I looked at it on my phone and it wasn't paywalled.
Well, I bet it is now because you can only look at things like one time before the pay gate comes up.
Is that the deal?
Usually.
Okay, well, maybe I'll just put it in another browser and it'll work for me here. I don't mean to be so anticlimactic.
Well, way to show up late and unprepared, Yarrow. We're very proud of you. You're doing the best today.
Exactly.
So,
you know what?
I'm gonna be able to pull up. I'm gonna be able to pull up your story, bro, before you do.
I should have known that Fox News would paywall me. It's all good. It's all good.
Of course they would. That's because that's all right. The truth.
You ready? You ready? You ready? You ready?
Votes for Arkansas ballot measure on medical marijuana will.
Hey, I got it. I just put it in a different browser. Stop it. This is I just put it in a different browser. So. Without further ado, thank you for your patience. The Arkansas Supreme Court ruled on Monday that voters will not be allowed to weigh in on a ballot measure to expand medical marijuana in the state, arguing that the initiative failed to fully explain what it entails. In a 4-3 decision, sounds a little partisan, I'm not so sure, the justices threw out the initiative just 2 weeks before the election, according to the Associated Press. It is too late to remove the measure from the ballot as early voting began on Monday, so the court instructed election officials not to count any of the votes on the initiative. The proposed constitutional amendment would have expanded the definition of medical professionals who can certify patients for medical cannabis, adding qualified conditions, and make medical cannabis cards valid for 3 years. The court ruled that the Arkansas Medical Marijuana Amendment of 2024 did not fully inform voters that it would have removed the authority of the state legislature to change the 2016 constitutional amendment that did legalize medical marijuana in the state. This decision doomed the proposed ballot title, and it is plainly misleading, Justice Sean Womack wrote in the majority opinion. The court also said that the initiative did not inform voters that the amendment would legalize up to an ounce of marijuana possession for any purpose if marijuana were legalized at the federal level. Organizers of the initiative said in court filings that the ballot measure did cite the number of provisions that would be repealed and argued that the previous court ruling said measures did not need to summarize the current law that would be amended. Justice Cody Hillen said that in a dissent that the court was ignoring decade-long precedent by ruling the measure's language was misleading. Long ago, this court established definitive standards for evaluating the sufficiency of popular names and ballot titles. This court has not deviated from those standards until today. The court also rejected election officials' reasons for ruling the measure's organizers fell short of the signatures needed for placing the measure on the ballot. Arkansas for Patient Access, a group behind the measure, said it would continue its push to expand the medical marijuana program and that the signatures it gathered displayed widespread support. We are deeply disappointed with the court's decision, the group said in a statement. It seems politics has trumped over legal precedent. The group filed a lawsuit after Arkansas Secretary of State John Thurston said it fell short of the signatures required to qualify for the ballot. The issue over the ballot measure's language was raised by Project Arkansas Kids, a group that opposed the measure and intervened in the case on behalf of the kids. Thurston's office had refused to count some of the signatures submitted, claiming the group had not followed paperwork rules about paid signature gatherers. Earlier this year, the state rejected petitions submitted in favor of a pro-life ballot measure on similar grounds. And in July, the state said that the group had fallen short of the required signatures for the medical marijuana measure, but qualified for 30 additional days to circulate petitions. The state then told the group that any additional signatures gathered by paid signature gatherers would not be counted if required information was submitted by the canvassing company rather than the measure's sponsors. The court said Monday that the decision was wrong, arguing that the state law allows a wide range of people to be considered sponsors of the measure. Other groups have been campaigning against the measure, even as it was unclear whether it would be on the ballot next month. The Family Council Action Committee announced last week that it had planned to launch a statewide tour opposing the measure. A measure this bad simply has no business being on the ballot or in the Constitution, the committee's director, Jerry Cox, said after Monday's ruling. About half of U.S. states allow recreational marijuana, and a dozen more have legalized medical marijuana. In November, voters in Florida, North Dakota, South Dakota will decide on whether to legalize recreational marijuana for adults, while 2 measures for medical marijuana will be on the ballots in Nebraska. So, rocky start to me reading this article, but we say weed for the people. We say we for the people. We say people for the people. We say people are not sheeple. And yet here we have another example of the judicial system being used to prevent people from so much as voting and being counted for what their opinion is. And to me, this sounds like a lot of fuckery by obstruction prohibitionists yet again. This is Yarrow Kubrin, High at 9 News. I'd like to hear what the rest of you think and feel about this.
That's what happens when you stack the court with conservative judges.
I don't know about all that. I don't know about that.
They take away the will of the people. I don't like it. It goes against my morals.
And those are not they're not true to form because they are not about freedom. And it just shows right there they're not about the freedom of choice for people to choose what they want to do.
Glenn Youngkin too, same thing.
I think it's unfortunate.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, this notion that they can rip the rug out from underneath the voters and not have it be counted.
Well, they did a whole vote in South Dakota and then turned around and didn't even initiate it.
It gives the people a lot of faith in the electoral process.
Yeah, it's
right?
not. Yeah, this is.
We already have a lot of people who aren't voting because they don't feel like their vote counts. So literally making their vote not count is definitely adding on to that. That's ridiculous.
100% what you just said.
Exactly right. I'm totally all about all of that. Well, seeing as none of you guys have anything else to say.
You got another super chat, buddy?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, Miss Anna Lewis. Thank you so much. Weed for the People podcast with Nelson. Poetry of Plants is out now, so make sure you go and check that out as well. Man, look at that. A lot of great content out there. Got Cole's show. Weed for the People.
You didn't even tell me I was on the mini doc, Jason.
Well,
we should have a screening.
Expect you to watch it.
I'm going to.
Mm-hmm. Perfect. And on that, thank you all for joining us and getting high at 9 with us every Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. Pacific and high noon on the East Coast. Big thank yous to our audience and supporters for tuning in and listening to the insanity that is the developing cannabis industry. Huge thank you to Catalyst over here helping us keep the lights on, and thank you to our correspondents for being absolutely amazing. Thank you to Cannabis Sativa L for giving us a reason to do all this. And thank you to Cloud Media Partners. Adam in the building back. That's right. And thank you all for tuning in and getting high at 9 with us. We are America's #1 daily cannabis news show.